That one is ziricote, which is Mexican wood. Beautiful dark wood. It's good. The sound is good. It makes a nice flute.
Right now we're in Richard's workshop. He's showing me a long 3-piece flute that he just finished making. The body of the flute is dark brown with a shiny polished finish with open finger holes running along the top side. Each section is connected by brass rings that Richard cuts himself.
I can't think of the name of it.
Richard has been a craftsman all of his life. He has worked in various woodworking jobs throughout his career. At 66, Richard is set to retire. He and his wife Rosella were married in Ireland 40 years ago. They have 4 daughters, all born in Ireland. In 1989, Richard moved his family to Canada. They have been living in London ever since. Richard is showing me the first 2 steps in his flute making process, a technique that he developed himself from studying flutes. He starts with a small rectangle of wood and, using his lathe, cuts a circular spigot into the end with a turning chisel. Today, he is using cherry wood. After this, Richard will use a series of custom drill bits to drill out a conical hole down the center of the block. This will create the hollow interior of the future flute. Richard has been making and selling flutes for about 7 years now.
It started off in a very interesting way. A friend of ours had a store downtown. He asked me one day if I could make a wooden flute. He was having trouble finding some for his store. So I decided to have a go and made a wooden flute and kept making wooden flutes, and now I've finished 184.
But Richard didn't start off by playing the flute.
With the flutes, making was definitely a gateway into playing. I had no experience with flutes, with wooden flutes per se. A lot of makers would have been players first and then come into making. I sort of came at it the other way around.
Richard can also play mandolin, guitar, harmonica, and accordion. He is known in the London Irish Folk Club for his rich music knowledge and skill. His basement workshop, where he spends much of his time, is full of his many instruments. He plays these daily, practicing for the club's music gatherings and dance lessons. He can often be heard singing old folk songs in Gaelic, a language he and his wife are fluent in. Rosella also plays music. She plays the whistle and often accompanies Richard on guitar at the folk club music gatherings. She says joining the Irish Folk Club 20 years ago made their family's transition into Canada much easier.
I think the folk club is the best thing that we ever did. It's created a whole family. It's just meant maybe more for us as immigrants than people who live here. It certainly helped us to settle. It certainly helped us to form a community that maybe we wouldn't have.
Jeanette Duteau is one of the organizers of the London Irish Folk Club, along with Rosella. She's known Richard for almost 20 years. She says Richard and Rosella's dedication to Irish culture is key to the club's success.
Without their passion for it, I don't think the club would still be happening. I mean, they're the ones that drive the events. They have the background. I'm not really sure we'd still be around without the 2 of them involved in the club. They bring, I want to say, an authentic Irishness to the group in terms of the fun of Irish music and the traditions and just the language, and they bring that sort of welcoming environment to everybody.
Both Richard and Rosella agree that music and dance are integral parts of Irish culture.
Soul. There's a rhythm in Irish people, and there's a lot of myth and magic in all of us as well, which comes out in music.
It's an integral part of it. Can't imagine Irish culture without the music and the dance. I mean, that's who we are.
Richard currently works on his flutes 2 days per week. When he retires, he plans to focus on his passion for woodworking and music. He says he wants to up production on his flutes and to spend more time in his favorite place, his workshop.